Mike Draco, good to see you, man. Hey, this is Chris. I'm the engineer here on Cannonball Chronicles. I want to welcome you to Wednesday night hump day. Cannonball Nation getting ready to go live with this one. 3.5 minutes out. Dennis Stauber, good to see you. Make sure you throw up your name where you're listening from so we can give you a shout out. Like Walter Bednarski. Snow coming in New Jersey. I mean, it's coming in everywhere. Steve Henderson, Pasco, Washington State. We'll give you guys a little shout out. Appreciate you tuning in. Cannonball Chronicles goes live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. In case you're keeping track of what we're doing here, it is a show that glorifies, inspects, and otherwise celebrates the riders, racers, and motorcycles of America's most exhilarating cross-country event, the Motorcycle Cannonball. Stick around, we're going live in just 2 minutes with this week's Cannonball Chronicles. Chat's lighting up so fast I can't keep up. Keith Parnoff, Nancy Keener, Pat Fitzgerald, Jeremy Sather, Todd Cameron, Walter Coro. Good to see all you guys. Brian Pelletier. I'm going to say your name right once. I promise. The next time we're together, you got to give me a half-hour course on how to say your last name. David Crum, good to see you here. Steve Henderson, everybody in the house tonight. It's going to be a packed crowd. Tim Kearns, Apollo PA, right on. Just 2 minutes left, man. Grab something cold to drink. Get ready. Hit the like and share button. We're going live. 2 minutes. Camp Ripley, Minnesota. That sounds cool. Ooh. Team Butts in the house. Good to see you, Mary. William Cole. What's the grind on Thursday night? I'm going to have to check that out. Is that a Choppertown show also? Panhead Fred, Northern Illinois. Welcome to the show, brother. 1 minute out. We're just 1 minute out from going live with Cannonball Chronicles. It's going to be a fantastic show tonight. It's always good. Send out our love to everybody in Texas. I know there's struggles going on there in the Lone Star State. They're not used to this stuff. Hey, now we got 24 seconds out. I think it's time to get this one out of the shed and up onto the road and go live with this week's Motorcycle Cannonball Chronicles. Here we go.
Hey, what's happening there, Cannonball enthusiasts? It's Wednesday night. That's right. It's back, and we are back for another episode of Cannonball Chronicles. It is episode number 32. Can you believe it? We've had 32 freaking great guests on this show, and we plan on having a whole lot more. So we've got a really great guest tonight. Excited to sit down and chat with Paul Jacobson tonight. Another local here from Arizona, and he's got a really, really great story. Great dude. And anyway, let's get started. Let's bring in my co-host, Mr. Robbie Nussbaum. What's happening, Robbie?
Hey Jason, what's going on, buddy? How you been?
Ah, man, just working away, just going. It's been actually a little tough working because a lot of the stuff that I got to do right now is in the Midwest and Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and none of those people are working. They've been shut down for over a week now.
Wow. Wow. So what have you been doing with yourself?
Well, still trying to work and just keep going and do what I can. Um, really, that's about it.
Cool.
Actually, been a little boring. I mean, we're keeping busy. We're really busy, working in some other parts of the country that are actually open. So,
What,
we're me and Leanne are crazily working on this chase thing, trying to get it so we can get it announced here pretty quick, and we're getting really, really close on that.
you got a good attendance attendance for this thing? People signed up?
We'll see. We'll see. We've got a lot of people that are interested in doing it. It is a little short notice to get prepared for it, but I think if people want to get out there and ride and they want to experience, one of our events, and this one's going to be pretty crazy. I've got some stuff up my sleeve that we haven't seen on either of the events yet, so it'll it should be pretty cool. It should be pretty cool. I can't wait to actually get to talk about it and go over in details what we got planned. So
Cool. Cool. So when do you think you're going to make that announcement?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
We just got to make sure all our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, or however we say that. So we just got to make sure that we can get it done and get it done the way that I have imagined. So
Right. Right.
nothing, you don't want to do anything half-assed.
That's right. It has to be all up to snuff, right?
Yep. 110 or nothing.
So I understand you have some stuff you want to talk about tonight in the store. What do you got?
Yeah. So we've been busy. We're starting to get some of the new products in um, that we'll have on the web store. We'll just go over a couple of them here that are up there here just as recently. Dang it, just dropped them all. Hang on a second. So we got a selection of bandanas in there. They came out pretty cool, as you can see. Real nice designs. Are real soft. Just a good timeless piece. You can wear it as a bandana. I call it more of a kerchief. I wear one all the time. If I got a mask up, this is actually one that we've got here for the chase. If you got to go in somewhere that they require, but we got a nice cannonball one. Ooh, got one
Nice.
for you chase freaks out there, cross country chase. It's a little upside down, but
No, it's totally upside down.
you can see them on the website, so you can get a full glimpse of what they are. These are pretty cool. These are real popular with riders even before the pandemic hit. Are these neck gaiters? So you can wear these as
Show us how that
face
works.
mask.
Show us how that
Head.
works.
All right, let's see if I can get her done. You just pull her on like that. You can wear it as a mask if you want to. You can pull it down, just use it to protect your neck. You can pull it up to hold your hair when you got your helmet on, or if you don't wear one, you can wear it as a. Yeah, absolutely. I know girls wear them as wristbands, to keep that sweat off. You can wear it as a headband if you got some long hair. All kinds of stuff you can do. 101 uses for this thing. So we actually got a couple of different styles here. So we got that American flag one, which is kind of my favorite one. And then we've got the wing logo, like that one that we just seen. And then this one's pretty cool too. So the Cannonball Wing logo.
Down,
So
boy.
you can get those on cannonballstore.com or go to motorcyclecannonball.com, hit shop, and it'll take you right there. They're under the Motorcycle Cannonball section. Pretty cheap. You know, every purchase you guys make for us helps keep this event alive. And right now, we really need your guys' help out there. So make sure you shop, support your local events, keep us alive. So we'll be adding more and more stuff on there here in the next couple of weeks. I got a bunch of 2021 merchandise coming, and then some other custom stuff that'll be pretty cool. So we'll have a lot of this stuff in Daytona with us, the Texas Fandango, and any other meet that we're going to. So come by, check us out, throw us a few bucks, help us stay alive.
Beautiful. Beautiful stuff.
So what's up with you?
Well, I've been pretty busy. We had a pretty exciting day yesterday. We had nice warm weather, and I mean, for here, 50 degrees. Yeah. So we took the opportunity, and I'll show you a little bit about what we were up to. We got.
So hey, why don't we use that as a 1,000-word segment?
Yeah, because, I guess it is worth 1,000 words. I don't know how the audio came through on your end or the other end, but I have it on Facebook on my page. It's we've been struggling with trying to make the 1913 Harley single respond to a linker carburetor. So my mechanic Ryan built his own manifold for the 13 for the linker, and then he's been playing with different throttle positions and whatnot. But we think we've got it to the point now where it idles nicely and then it responds. It's still, it's still a little fat right now. It's rich,
right?
So it loads up just a little bit as it comes on, but it comes on pretty strong once you get into the high speed circuit, which is nice because those things. Ryan feels like it's going to be able to do around 40, 45 miles an hour on a flat, running pretty strong. So, and that's
what
going
it needs.
That's going to be a Cannonball engine for this year that belongs to one of our Cannonball members.
There's a lot of stuff that goes in. I mean, especially to put a linker down it. I mean, people out there probably don't realize that that's originally a screw-on carb, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's internally threaded in the cylinders, I think. And it, when you work with a single cylinder, you don't have the second cylinder affecting the charge from the carburetor.
Mm-hmm.
So it reacts a little differently. So that carburetor that's on there was originally on a Harley 45 cubic inch 750 model. This shouldn't be that much smaller. It should work on there. But there are things you have to do because it's a single cylinder pulling the vacuum differently.
Right.
So, but I think we got it close. It's because we have a 1912 we have to do that doesn't have a push rod. It's a the word escapes me right now. Atmospheric
valve, yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted to get this one dialed in, so we had a benchmark to start with the carburetor because we're going to use a similar carburetor on the 12. And
cool.
this engine has a few upgrades in it. It's got Carrillo rod in it, and I almost said rods. It's got a Carrillo rod in it,
Rod.
and the flywheels have been modified slightly. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, it should be pretty neat. Hopefully, it'll work out.
I bet it will. That'd be fun to see it at least.
Yeah. But, we've had it on the test bench a few times. This was the last time we had it on, and I think we're ready to release this motor. So,
oh, good.
Yeah.
I know. I bet they're probably pretty excited to get it and start doing some testing on their own and getting comfortable with the thing.
Yeah. And, luckily right now we have probably 6 more weeks of winter here. We've had snow at the end of April in Ole. So, but April's 6 weeks away. So, you get some, if we get lucky, which doesn't sound like we're going to get it this year, but if we get lucky, maybe.
Crazy. So let's, there was a couple questions I seen come in on that motor. People are asking, what size is it? And then how much horsepower is it producing?
Don't know.
Well, we know it's a 500cc, correct?
I guess it's it's got to be a 500cc. The piston's the same piston that's in the Big Twin.
Right.
It's probably closer
horsepower.
to
You don't know?
8, 10.
Yeah,
something like that. I mean, their horsepower is real low on those things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on one of those, I would defer the horsepower to the torque. I would rather have the torque than the horsepower.
Right.
And hopefully that's there.
And then that's going in a single speed bike, right? Belt drive or chain drive?
I don't know the details on this one. The 12 is going to be a chain drive, I believe.
Hmm.
And I think this one's probably chain drive too, but I'm not sure.
That'd be interesting. So
It's been fun playing with these things, but also nerve-wracking because they're way different and the parts ain't out there. So
right.
We had to make a lot of stuff for this thing.
Yeah, you got to get creative. I know that for sure. I know, one of our other riders and guy that's on here today, Dave Courier, I know he spent a lot of time and resources of trying to get that single cylinder figured out.
Yeah, I've been in touch with Dave quite a bit. And we've been sharing some notes on some things, and I'm helping him out with some stuff for the chase, generator wise. And if anybody watched Shop Talk with Generator, man, if you want to go to sleep, that's the episode to watch.
Hey, Tom just chimed in. He says it's a belt on his on the 12.
Okay, so Tom's going to run the belt. There you go.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well,
Which I think's better.
There is a big brass pulley on there, so that would make sense.
I thought that was a run the ice cream machine.
So those of you, keep that picture up there, Chris. Those of you who are interested in knowing about this is not too long after the evolution of bicycle to motorcycle. Okay, so Harley went into business in 1903. Technically speaking, they started selling motorcycles in 1904, and this is 1912. So this is 8 years removed from the very first, sold Harley Davidson. So
I think wasn't 13 the first year for the mechanical valve? Everything before that was atmospheric.
Right. First year of the push rod motor on the single. I don't know. Is it the 11 or 12 twin that had, I don't remember, 11 or 12.
I don't remember either. One of these episodes, maybe we get in and talk about the difference between atmospheric and mechanical valve. We'll do like a little tech talk or something like that for the people that don't know the difference.
Well, when we bring Tribby on, he can probably,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
because he's doing that Excelsior with the atmospheric valve.
I was hoping Rob would set up your like little whiteboard behind you and draw us some pictures and
I lost my lab coat.
come on, Professor.
The professor is Ryan. Ryan is the professor.
Right on.
He's so busy he doesn't have time to talk. So, but
Cool.
yeah, I'll try and get some info. But I think Chris Tribby really has a pretty good handle on the atmospheric valves, and I mean it's vacuum that opens the valve on an atmospheric instead of a mechanical operation. So what the problem is there is that at a certain speed, the valve begins to float because there's confusion in the combustion chamber. So that's basically the difference with a mechanical one. You know when the valve's going to close and you know when it's going to open, unless you have a catastrophic failure and then it just stays open.
Heck yeah.
So that's it in kind of in a nutshell.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we should bring up something that we look at doing is, a little tech section or knowledge section like that. Because I think there's a lot of people out there like to, that might not necessarily know the difference.
Well, we just had a good conversation. In fact, I just put Marge, our talent coordinator. She was on with Stuart from JD Jugs, and he's going to come on with us and give us a little bit of a tech segment. So that should be within probably next month sometime, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it'll be
That'd
interesting. Yeah, Stuart really knows his way around the metallurgy and how these things work and what makes them tick. And for those of you riding the Chase, Stuart's going to be making WR and WLDR cylinders and heads for those bikes with an updated porting design. So stay tuned.
Heck yeah.
So I guess now's a good time. We'll take a break. We'll do our commercial.
Let's do it.
And then we'll spend the rest of the show with our guest. How's that sound?
I think that's a great idea.
All right. We'll see you on the other side of the commercials, folks. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm with Banks Brothers Motorcycles. One of the things I want to show you today is our new improved engine puller.
The changes to this machine has been in the arms and in the hands. We put hind joints in the hand to allow rotation of the engine, which makes it easier to get it in and out of the frame. With the angle change, we have equal clamping pressure on them. And over here we have what's called the posi lock, which allows this to be locked in place and the engine can't swing from side to side.
And we're going to show you just how easy it is to pull the motor out of the bike right now. George is actually going to come in, make contact with the cylinders, tighten it down, he's going to pull it out of there.
You lift it up, rotate it, and bring the assembly out of the frame. You see the motor starting to move and it centers itself. This allows no side play once the motor's in place, and it keeps it safe, it can't fall out.
Visit BanksBrothersMotorcycles.com to order your Banks lift.
I guess it was about 1958 or so. I was 13 years old. A friend had a homemade motor scooter. He let me ride it, and I just was taken by that. There were garage builders everywhere before the pros took over. Especially bikes and hot rods, you had to have friends that did all the different things. There's nothing in a Harley showroom I want, but if you tell me about a box, some boxes in the shed, man, I'll beat you there, you know. And then it was that fun and that personal pride that you took a basket case and you made something out of it. You know, anybody can go buy one of those, but you got to build one of these, and that's the difference. Dennis Kirk is really amazing because so many things. There's a variety of parts, the speed, the ease of ordering. You know, you pick up the phone and just whip out a part number and it's in your shop in a day or two. I'm Ed Fish and I'm from Corinne, Pennsylvania, and I'm a Dennis Kirk garage builder.
All right. Thanks to our great sponsors.
Well, that Dennis Kirk spot is awesome.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
That guy's pretty neat, man. Pretty neat. Nice spot. Hey, quick shout out to Choppertown, our host studio, our studio sponsor, Banks Gas, and all the other social media channels that are bringing this in tonight. That's we really appreciate that.
All our sponsors right up here
in the logo roll,
up in the corner. Yep,
right.
Those guys are all kick-ass.
Wrong side. I can never get this right.
I can never.
I've never make it as a WhatsApp. And I was going to start naming some of the people watching tonight, but there are too many familiar faces. I mean, it's unbelievable. We've got a nice group of people in here tonight. So
yeah, absolutely. They're out there commenting. That's what we like to see. Asking questions. We'll try to get to your questions if we see them, if we can. You know, that's what helps us go.
We get so focused on the guest and the dialogue that occasionally I can look over and see the questions, but just fire them off there, folks. We'll try and get to them, try and get to stuff. But other than that, Jason, you want to do the honors?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got a really great guest tonight. We have Mr. Paul Jacobson here from Phoenix area, Arizona, and let's bring him in. Hey, Paul, what's happening?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Pretty good. So for the people that don't know, this is Paul Jacobson. He's from Arizona. He competed in the 2018 Motorcycle Cannonball. He's got some really, really great stories, and I'm excited to have you on with us tonight and to get to learn about motorcycling with you and what you got in the future.
All right. Excited to be on too.
Heck yeah. Let's get into it. So you currently reside in Arizona, in the Phoenix area. Tell me where you kind of grew up and how you really got into motorcycling. What got you kicked off?
Yeah, so I grew up in Farmington, New Mexico, and born in Phoenix, but grew up pretty much in New Mexico, and had neighbors that had motorcycles, dirt bikes, and things. I didn't own any motorcycles till I graduated high school, but my dad had a few motorcycles, and so I'd ride a bit with the neighbors. We lived right near the desert, and so we go out somewhat frequent, but really got hooked, I think, on antique motorcycles kind of about the time I graduated high school. I got to take my dad's 39 UH out, and once you ride one of these bikes, you're pretty much hooked, I think. So that kind of set it off, and ended up, my dad and I found another bike, a 72 Harley Rapido, little 125, and that was frozen. We got that sorted out, and I ended up riding that bike for about 2.5 years in college.
Let me ask you a question. As far as if your dad rode motorcycles, why did it take you so long to be able to have a motorcycle?
Yeah, that's a good question. I should have brought my dad on. Maybe he could answer that, but I still rode motorcycles, but just never owned any, I guess. So yeah, we were riding around. We had a go-kart, some other fun toys and stuff too. So,
Do you think
but
Mom had
it was
an
more.
influence on that?
Yeah, it could, maybe it was my mom. And hi, mom and dad. I'm sure they're watching.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hi, mom and dad.
So you started on a Rapido, and I seen last week on social media you just got it fired up again, and it had been sitting for a while, huh?
Yeah, it has been sitting, I think, probably over 20 years, and then we were at my dad's place and mom's place down the street, and then ended up my son was asking to try and get the go-kart. My dad and mom kept the go-kart and everything, so they've just moved down here as well, and kind of talked to my son into, hey, let's just go get the Rapido from the shed and see if it'll fire up, and he got it kicked off, and we're riding that thing around. So yeah, they're you know, obviously not the quickest bike, but it gave me really great parking in college, so it's pretty reliable too. And
Heck yeah, you put that thing anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere. On top of that, you know, $49 I think a year for insurance, so you can't beat that either.
Right.
Nice. Nice. So where are you originally from, Paul?
Well, originally from Northwest New Mexico.
Okay.
And then I went down to, I started community college there, and then I went down to New Mexico State and finished bachelor's of mechanical engineering there.
And so you spent some time in New York State, is that right?
Yeah, I did. I after I got a job after college, ended up traveling with my company, lived a number of different places, lived in Bay Area, lived in upstate New York, Arizona, New Mexico, lived in China for a couple of years, and eventually back to Arizona.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So did a little bit of traveling. That's good.
So what do you do? I mean, what's your real world job?
I'm a development engineer at Intel Corporation, computer chip manufacturer.
So let me ask you a question. How can I make my computer to...
I'll give you the response. What you want to do, Rob, is push the power button and hold it for 3 seconds.
Yeah, and shut it off.
Yeah.
You're not smart enough to own a computer. Unplug it and walk away.
Right. I'll trade you motorcycle parts. Come over.
So let's talk. After the Rapido, you started getting into a little bit older bikes. What was the next bike to hit the stable?
Yeah, so you know, kind of fixed up. There was another little JR50. I didn't have kids at the time, but this was another one of those auction finds for, I think my dad bought it for $15 and got that going. And that was more just having drinks and riding it around kind of bike. And then I was riding an 88 Sportster 1200. And my dad had owned that originally. He traded for a Softail and ended up getting that back. And then I talked my dad out of this 49 WL that he and I had found it's like a storage shed. Probably, I think I was in high school at the time. So talked him out of that and got that together eventually when I stopped traveling around. And that's my sort of go-to commuter at this point to work.
And I remember you telling me a story. I believe it was you that you found the thing and it was a million pieces, and didn't it take you like 7 or 8 years to put it together and restore it? Or
yeah, that one, you know, that one I really was just collecting parts and I would just move it. I think I counted, we lived in, I think 13 houses in the last 20 years. And so, wow. You know, it's one of those, just never was in the spot long enough to get it going. And then finally permanently moving to Arizona about almost 5 years ago, it was time to get started on it. So committed to it and started putting stuff together, got it going and running. Dialed in after, yeah.
You feel like you're done moving or what?
I hope so. I think at this point, I think I'm hoping I don't have to move, but you never know. Every time. What's that, Rob?
You're just getting good at it. It seems like.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, you get kind of good, but then you start collecting all this junk, and then eventually it's just trailer of stuff and another trailer and another trailer. So,
Don't I know it?
but
You know
yeah.
it too, right, Jason?
Oh yeah, yeah, all too well.
So what do you got in the way of motorcycles now? I understand you have a regular commuting routine. What's that consist of?
Yeah, I try and commute on a 101 and that WL, and I know pretty fortunate, you know, that you kind of need two options because one's always broke anyway, right? So, but I'm proud to say I think I've only Ubered probably 3 times, I think, commuting to work. So, and usually it's Uber to the house to get something that I need out of a bin, and then take the same Uber back to fix it. But
How do your coworkers? What are your coworkers' reaction to you commuting on these antique bikes?
yeah, I don't know. You know, I mean, they like seeing the bikes. Yeah, there you go. You know, they're definitely fun to ride. I've got a little spot at work that's saturated with oil in the parking lot, so it's kind of my spot. And
Nice. Literally.
yeah, literally my spot. Yeah, so. But yeah, it's fun to, you know, talk to different coworkers, different people I don't know. I had an RD 350 for a while that I commuted, and you know, a few guys, they're very popular in India, and so quite a few people would talk to me in the parking lot about kind of bring back the memories, right, that they had riding that same bike.
Nice.
Well, let's jump ahead a little bit and talk about some of the earlier bikes. You obviously the bike behind you. Let's talk about that a little bit of what the bike is and how you acquired it.
Yeah, so this is a 1913 Thor. I'll slide it a little bit here. You can see the motor a little bit. This bike, I got back from overseas, living overseas, and was really wanting to get an early bike, a teens bike, and then kind of sorting through. I found this project in the, you know, back of the AMCA magazine, and thought, oh, okay, well, let me check this out. And it happened to be in New Mexico, and I had one flight a month I was making back to New Mexico anyway. And it just so happened that, you know, 2 days after I called the guy, I was flying in on a flight already booked anyway. So ended up going to check that bike out, and it really was a box of parts. I know there's a picture in here somewhere, but you know, number of pieces, and didn't really know a lot about, you know, Thor, but it had quite a bit. It had an extra motor with it, or most of it had a number of parts. So I knew at least there's some trading stock there and stuff like that. So, you know, this happened to be south of Albuquerque, and you know, out of cell service, you're bringing cash in your pocket, you know, out in the desert, and kind of don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, super nice guy, and ended up making the deal, and then lined up another trip to go pick it up, and eventually got it back home. And, you know, I told my wife, hey, we're going to buy this bike. And, you know, so anyway, I get this box of parts back. It looked like this. And then I think my wife said, okay, now where's the bike part, you know? And
Yeah.
So, you know how that works, I'm sure.
Let me back you up just a second, because I have some notes here that tell me that you ran into Jersey John Zalay from American Pickers, currently from American Pickers. Tell me about that a little bit, how that conversation came about, and what came first, the bike or the conversation?
Yeah, so I already had bought this project, and then I was living in upstate New York. So I met John down at Rhinebeck one year, and he had his Thor, you know, prepping for 2016. I think he had his Harley was there from a previous year. So I met John, started talking about the Thor, and you know, kind of, I think if I remember right, he says, why aren't you running the Cannonball? And, you know, at that point I was like, there's no way I'm going to, you know, get this thing together at that point. So, but that's kind of the first thought I think of the Cannonball was probably that conversation, seeing John's bike and you know, just hearing the stories from John, you know, what he went through with the Harley and you know, just that all the prep I think involved to get, you know, a bike like that, a teen's bike together for a cross country road trip.
How'd you find out about the motorcycle Cannonball?
You know, I think I, you know, read about it a little bit, but really it wasn't until, you know, I talked to John, and then I happened to be moving in 2016 out to Arizona, and the 2016 route took it through Williams. And so I ended up driving up to see the bikes come through and you know, talk to all the Thor guys, the Thor losers, who helped me out tremendously, by the way. So hello, Thor losers.
They're all good guys, those Thor losers.
Oh yeah, they are. So you start with John, and you got the bucket of parts. Let's talk a little bit about what you had to go through to really kind of put this thing together. I probably know a little bit of what you went through, as I've owned a few Thors in my life, and know what people have to go through to get these things up and going. So I'd like to just talk a little bit about a box of parts to a motorcycle and what it took.
Right. Yeah, it's a process for sure. I think you know, from the time I got the parts to when I got it first started, I think was probably somewhere around 3 years, something like this. And which I think, you know, is pretty quick, but some of that was sort of getting ready at that point. I think, you know, it was picked for Cannonball. You know, I hadn't even started the bike, I think, by that point yet, but that sort of drives to the need to get it done. You know, when you start putting these together, I think it's one of those, there's really no documentation, you know, anywhere. And so it's more, you know, meeting the community of different folks and stuff like that. So yeah, this was the first time I got it started, and smoked out the garage here. But that's on original pistons, and basically everything fitted up to where we could get it running.
Well, I see all those other motorcycles and bicycles ran out of the way and got all clogged up on the right side of the screen there.
Right.
You scared the hell out of them, I guess.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I was smoking pretty good there, obviously. So I think I'm pretty sure it'd been 100 years since that motor was kicked off. So,
all right. So tell me about your wife's reaction when the house filled with smoke.
well, we had the garage shut, the door shut. So I don't know. It wasn't probably not too bad. She'll probably put a comment. Maybe she'll put a comment in the
yeah,
you know,
and if
we fogged everybody out. But
if anybody else has some comments for Paul, post them up. We'll try and get to them. Marge is monitoring that stuff. We'll try and answer some of your questions. So if you guys have any questions about riding a 1913 motorcycle cross country, this is the guy to ask.
So putting the thing together, what was the hardest part of it?
So, you know, I think the tough part is figuring out what parts, you know, a lot of times you know, you don't have one of these down the street, right, that you can just go down, measure. I was very lucky, you know, living in upstate New York. I was in Albany, so I would go down to Motorcyclopedia, and I forgot her name, Ted's sister, was very nice, let me in multiple times to measure their 1314 Thor in there. So I got tons of dimensions before I ended up moving out of New York. And then, you know, you start meeting the community of folks. You know, a few friends in Australia and in Spain, and, you know, of course, Doug and John, all these guys, crafts in the US, you know. So I think you know, once you start meeting all these folks, you can start sharing parts, or you can trade parts, and if you need dimensions and things like this. So
well,
it's
on
really
that
community.
On that topic, Poser Joe wants to know, how many parts did you have to manufacture yourself?
Yeah, there are quite a few. You know, I was able to. There was quite a few parts with it, but unfortunately, lots of things didn't fit. But all the tin on this bike, so the blanks came out of Australia, and then, you know, the brackets, everything basically that is attached to these. So they don't make like 9/16 strap, right? So you got to take something like 5/8 and you got to trim it down. So there's a lot of work to really try and get it as close as possible. The inner mud guards and things like this all have to be pieced together. And the tank, Jethro made the tank. Oh, that's Jersey there. He's helping solder the tank for me. So that tank, you know,
Where was this?
that was early on. I forget, you know, exactly where. Probably, I don't know, right out of Maine there, probably the first or second stop.
Right. So right on the run.
Yeah, right on the run there. So, and you know, some of that is, you know, you overfill the tank. All those little things that you kind of learn where, you know, these motors get hot, right? They heat everything up, and so you gotta. There's a lot of little tips and tricks you sort of evolve and learn along the way.
What did
Well, I know
Go ahead.
as a fact, and then seeing what you showed me here recently, that Thor was really probably over engineered in their parts and over manufactured. You know, they seem to overthink everything and over engineer it.
Right.
I think it was the oil pump that you were showing me that I didn't realize had 67 different parts, and you know, really is kind of like a Swiss watch of how the thing works, and you know, down to the clutch and everything. It was so more advanced than anybody else was doing at the time.
Right. Yeah. It's the you know, phenomenal engineering of the time, no doubt. And you know, I think their intent, right, was to have this. I think they even called it the automatic oiler, right, to kind of prevent what I ended up doing on over here, which is the just a hand pump. But I opted after the guys in 2016. You know, they had some oil pump issues, and so I just opted to say, well, I'm just going to remove my oil pump, put the plugs, and I'll just hand pump to the front cylinder. And you know, you have to remember to do it, but you know, you get used to routine and it go from there. But yeah, it definitely a lot of engineering into the bike, and you know, not really vetted. I think some of the differences, you know, back then were just that, you know, they didn't have these you know, validation periods besides just, you know, selling bikes, and then they just get the feedback from people that would buy the bikes, right? They, you know, they wouldn't do any test tracks or anything like this, and so they really didn't do any reliability testing, you know, besides just whatever was fed back in the field, you know.
So we got an interesting comment here from Charles Sanchez. He says, we need to ask you about the time you took the bike out to the reservation.
Yeah, well, we're trying to make some runs around here. Oh yeah, there's another. So I guess that makes 3 times now I've had run-ins with the cops with this bike, but
you made them Thor.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, that Charles mentioned the third one there, so I forgot about that one. But that particular time, trying to get some test miles, and I'd went out, you know, the week before. This is right before we ended up, I ended up traveling out for the start of Cannonball. And apparently you can't park. You can park on the side of the road, like on the highway, but you can't park, I don't know, 30 feet into a dirt lot on the reservation. So anyway, you know, fortunately we got the heads up. We loaded everything real quick. You know, they were very nice, but you know, if they would have come around the actual reservation police, they could have confiscated the bike right before I went to Cannonball.
Yikes.
Really?
So, yeah, I got super lucky that we got out of there in time. But yeah, anyway, so good. Yeah, good story, good memory. Thanks, Charles.
Yeah,
So that's a week before the Cannonball. You guys get packed up. You head to Portland. I want to hear a little bit of your thoughts of, you know, just kind of really getting fresh in with the Thor and not having much seat time on it, of what your feelings were, and when you get to Portland and how you feel.
Yeah, well, you know, it was probably like I would say 50% confidence at the time we got up to Portland. You know, it's just really only had a few hundred miles in it, and a few hundred miles sounds like a lot, but when it runs 3 or 5 miles and then it breaks, and that adds up to your 300 miles, you don't have a lot of confidence even going into the, bug light day of going 15 miles, right? So,
Right.
but that was pretty good. I did the early run with Todd day before and seemed to run okay. Bug Light Park seemed to do okay, and but it really, wasn't quite dialed in. It was just sort of at that point, kind of a ticking time bomb.
Now, what do you feel that needed to be more dialed in at the time?
I think some of it is, we got the gauge on the mileage and odometer, right? There's the temp, the unit that I have shows it's got a thermocouple on it that feeds it, and I ended up running this double pull double throw switch, so I could check both cylinder temps. I could switch between them to the one feed, and
right on.
yeah, well, that's it. It sounds like a great idea, but then when you start thinking about 150-degree delta on 2 cylinders, and you're thinking, okay, something's wrong, you start kind of overreacting, and it would mess around. Some, all depended on how I tightened down the whole intake assembly. Sometimes it would run lean on rear cylinder, sometimes it'd be lean on the front cylinder, and so it's just kind of chasing ghosts, and if you run it too long, had gasket issues. I ended up switching gaskets, but I'd end up having valves loosen up, and intake valves loosen up, and then it would just get hotter and hotter, and then I'd break a valve or I'd break a spring. I don't know, lots of stuff. Yeah, pretty much that was
Talking about valves, I know you
yeah.
had a lot of valve issues, and I don't know, how many times did you rebuild those valves?
I don't know, man, a lot. There was I can do it pretty quick now. I think in probably less than 15 minutes, after doing it so many times. But it's it was sorting out till you get the right combination, and the just a lot of little things all stack up. It's all this tolerance stacking that just ends up, you start just trimming them all down, and then pretty soon you get to a decent setup, and then it runs, and you write it the way they should be written, and don't overdo it, and they seem to perform, so towards kind of the end of Cannonball, that was, we finally got it sorted out, but it takes a while. You really need a lot of miles to get it sorted out.
Right. So I want to kind of know, I know you have issues with the valve, but I don't exactly know what it was. Was it, was it springs? Was it, I don't know. I kind of like to hear why they have so many problems.
Well, I think, some of it is spring. I ended up with using the final config was using the 09 to 12 atmospheric intake springs for Harley. And those I got at competition when we got to Sturgis. I tried a bunch of different combinations, too stiff a spring, it would break the push rods. These push rods on these Thors have a double knuckle. And so, too much there, I ended up breaking, I think, 3 or 4 push rods. We'd fix those, and too light a spring, and then you're not getting any power out of it. And yeah, that's another common, the good part about this picture, guys, is, at Casey's, they have those crates right next. So you always got a seat anytime. So that's where you want to break down at Casey's.
So your output shaft, I think the Thor has a different kind of output or transmission type setup, and I forget what they call it, but did yours have that? It's not just a straight shaft, is it, coming out of the engine?
No, it comes off, and then it does a gear reduction.
Okay, that has a name. I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you know what that is?
I forget the exact what they call it, but it's basically
it's
an
like
offset.
3 different gears, right?
No, there's not 3 different gears. It's just got, it just comes off the motor, and then it's got the whole clutch assembly has an internal ring.
Right. Somebody out there knows what it is. So probably Todd
Yeah.
Cameron or somebody maybe can pipe in. I can't think of the name off the top of my head right now.
I can't think
There's
of it
a name
either
for
offhand.
it. But so
Let's talk
and then-
about a little bit about the experience while on a cannonball. I know we showed a picture there, broke down. What was it? I know the sweep truck was always on your ass, running you down, and you're always trying to, oh, give me a couple more minutes, give me a couple more minutes. Or let's kind of get into some of them little stories.
Right. Yeah. It's, sweep truck. I had, I think probably my own seat on there for most of the run. Right. And,
Well, I know most of them wouldn't want to let you in because you stunk so bad of oil. You're just like covered in marble or something.
Right.
Royal or
right. VR1. It's kind of the early part of the cannonball for me was, the series of breakdowns. And then, with this bike, it's single speed. So, every minute is really pretty critical to making sure you hit the finish line in the right time. And so I'd break down, and I knew I had probably about 3 fixes a day. If they were quick fixes, I'd be okay. But you start getting into like 5, and then sweep trucks there. And I'd tell Cole and Bruce, and I'd say, well, this Thor, it can do 50 or 55 miles an hour. And, I'd probably just roll their eyes, but it would do 55, but it'd do 55 for 2 miles. And then they would pick me up, and so. But
how much time did you spend on that sweep truck?
I spent a number of days. I think the first more than half the trip, right till we got to Sturgis, I was on that truck pretty much every day for some portion of the day.
But you didn't get the record, which is good for most trips on the sweep truck.
Oh
yeah, I'm proud. I'm proud of that. Yeah.
So we talk about some of the somber moments with the sweep truck and breaking down. Let's talk about some of the good memories that really stand out for you in the cannonball.
Yeah, there. Every day, for the most part, almost every day, right, was riding some portion of the trip. I mean, it was awesome sights. Lots of friends and family that came out to help out, which was awesome. And even just like the fans, I can tell you, there was one guy, I don't remember where we were at, but something was broke on the bike at night. The fans are awesome. They come talk to you. And then one guy said, hey, I got a part that might work. And he goes to his Toyota. He says, it's on my Toyota truck. And he went and got it and he brought it back. And I looked at it and I go, well, I don't know what I can do with this, but I kind of felt bad taking some part off a Toyota truck. And I kind of wish I would. I wish I would have put it and actually tie wrapped it to the bike, just in case you need some. But right. The whole experience, it's the whole experience of everybody helping you out, all the other riders. You guys do a great job organizing it, and the fans, everybody's excited to see all these bikes come in. It's just really an awesome experience. And I think, but most importantly for the bike is the bike got sorted out, which is there's 2 things that could happen. Either you're going to blow up the bike and go home, or you're going to sort it out. So we got lucky and got it sorted out.
Huh. So I know you got it home and you ended up finding some more problems wrong with it. And that's kind of why you haven't ridden it lately. I know it's been half tore down and all that. Explain some of that a little bit.
Yeah, finally, I started digging into it a little bit. I knew I had to commit to getting the frame fixed, and we had a MIG welder with us, and so we basically patched it. My dad helped and get this thing patched up. Really, every time we'd spot something, we get it done. I can remember he was welding on this bike, I think 5 minutes before takeoff on one day, and it's just kind of time to strip this thing down. I'd rode it at least on one of the AMCA rides, up to Prescott. So it made, I think I've probably ridden it after Cannonball, another ride in California, probably at least 500-600 miles since Cannonball. But it was kind of time to just get the frame fixed up. So I haven't committed to it yet. I started, I drained the tank and then got sidetracked with other projects, but before I ride it again, I got to get the frame shored up. But outside of the frame, it's really ready to go. So
Ready to go.
Yeah, I'm excited.
A lot of the folks comment on the connections that are made and the friends that are made on the Cannonball. And I was speaking with someone today who wanted me to ask you a question about backstage with the Doobie Brothers with your son.
Yeah.
About
Chris, Pat's wife, Chris. And so anyway, I asked my son if he wanted to go down to a concert. So we, went to go watch Doobie Brothers. They came in town and Chris happened to be there and came out and got us. And so we ended up going back to talk to Pat and yeah, Santana came and, we had a good conversation with Santana. And the funny part is he asked my son if he plays, guitar and my son said, well, kind of, and he's like, no, do you play or do you not play? And my son, and my son was like,
Carlos got right to it.
Right to the point. Yeah, right to the point. And then he says, well, if you played, I'd bring you on stage tonight. And so, so now, yeah, so now actually he's been playing in the house. So I think he wants to get back on. He wants to play. So he's been practicing guitar, Rob.
Somebody asked how old your son is.
Yeah, he's 16, just turned 16. So, yep.
And what's his passion? Is he picking up on your passion?
Yeah, well, a little bit. He's probably going to be an engineer. Also, he's taking quite a few classes. Honor stuff.
Nice.
He and I worked on 66 Nova kind of early on during last year, so we got through a lot of stuff and so he's learning a few things here and there, and he just rode that 72 Rapido last week, so he's wanting to keep riding that thing too. So
heck yeah,
pretty soon.
Heck yeah.
Won't
be long. He'll be joining us on our little Sunday rides.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So
it'd be fun stuff. So
Mike Draco commented around the same time that I remembered. It's called a planetary gear reduction, and Chris has a picture of how that works, I believe. So this is what drives the output shaft on a Thor.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that, but there's just one gear and a ring.
Right.
It doesn't have a series of the center gears like normal planetary like this, but
right. That's your clutch though, or something like that. Is that the clutch or is that the speed change?
Yeah, no, that's just a gear reduction to the final drive. It's single speed, so that's it. If we go to break, I'll pull. I got a spare here. I'll pull it out and I'll show you if we go to break, so we can all. But if we don't go to break, we'll do it next time.
Okay, we'll do it. I think we'll do it next time. Let's talk about gaskets, custom gaskets.
Yeah, my friend Ron, he was kind of in a pinch with blowing through all my copper gaskets, and I was using some sandwich gaskets, the asbestos like sandwich, and then those were cooking. You get a little intake leak, and those things were just cooking, and then the valve would drop, and it just snowballed. And so I was running short on gaskets, and Ron made some phone calls. He was flying to Chicago to meet us as we're coming across the country, and lined up a guy with a water jet, had 3 different thicknesses, and gave him the dimensions. And he showed up with this sort of Christmas box of gaskets. It was just awesome. So those got us the rest of the way across the country and helped to get the Thor dialed in.
Heck yeah.
Let's take a look at some of your pictures and go through them, because I'm interested in some of your graphs, and I'm also interested in the video you sent and my head's not working tonight. I'm sorry. The dyno. So Chris, if you could pull up some of those. Tell us about this, Paul.
Yeah, this was a great day. This Harley shop, and I forget the exact location of it, but they opened up the dyno in the back for us, and there was a line of all the Cannonball bikes ready to get on this dyno, and so I thought, well, this is probably my only chance I'm going to get the Thor on a dyno, and probably the only time a Thor is ever going to go on the dyno. And so it's, oh yeah, of course it is.
So what's this chart?
Yeah.
What's this tell us?
Yeah, so this is my little roll up of the failures. So there was 98 repairs on the Thor, and
98.
yeah, only 98. I didn't quite make the 100 mark, but
You are an engineer, aren't you? You have a chart of your failures.
well, we got to be ready for next time.
Well,
So-
that's actually very. Did you have a journal that you wrote this down in every night when you had to do service?
Yeah, I would run down kind of what failed when I, either come in most of the time on the trailer, and then my dad would take some notes on his book, and so he had them basically all logged down, and kind of just went back to revisit all that. How you don't get a lot of sleep through all the Cannonball prep, all through Cannonball, and so I was fortunate. Yeah, my dad took a lot of good notes, and then I was able to kind of transfer it to hopefully some improvements, for next time.
Cool. And then I think we have the dyno chart too. So let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
What's this tell us?
Yeah, it's a squiggly line. It's tough to read, but it did hit 10 horsepower, and which I'll say, Aaron Lovelace beat me by 0.05 horsepower. So,
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he just edged me out there, but the Thor stock was advertised at 7 horsepower. So, had
Was
a
that
little
in
bit more
Maine?
going.
Was that at the beginning in Maine?
No, it was somewhere in New York, like,
In New York? Okay.
yeah, Jamestown, New
Yeah.
York, or Binghamton.
Jamestown. Yep, Jamestown.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They had a dyno there. All right.
Yeah, it was the local Harley dealer that we stopped at that night. Let everybody in there and put their bikes on them.
Right. And
It
everybody
was fun to
like
watch. Yeah.
telling Aaron not to do it. Right. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're going to blow it up. Did you have any reservations about putting it on the dyno, or did you get egged into it?
No. I was excited to get on there. I didn't, it was one of those things. It was already breaking every 10 miles anyway. So
I didn't care.
see what it'll do on the dyno, and got all night to fix it. But yeah, I didn't go. I probably had a little bit more, and but I don't know. You don't want to push it too crazy. It was quite a setup actually to, pedal start it on the rear stand above the drum, and then you got it running right, pull the clutch in, and you got to have your buddies lift the back end and drop it on the drum. So
What's
that
interesting?
That would be a little odd, yeah.
What's interesting about the chart, and if we can bring it back up, it goes up to a peak, right? And then it falls off, but then it goes backwards. I'm not sure what to make of that. At the very end of the graph, it sort of curls around and goes back.
Right. That's what, when you pedal backwards, Rob, to break it. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you'll have to get the dyno experts.
I've never seen a chart like that before. Here we go down, and then we're going backwards.
Right. Going back in time there.
Yeah. All right.
One of them's pedal power and one's motor power.
And there you go.
There you go. So what else do my notes tell me here? Something about solder, graphs, your mood. Let's talk about your mood on the event.
My mood. I think I don't know, for the most part, your mood sort of changes. I was very happy right in that picture because I made it to the top of the hill. But, it's one of those, you kind of, the early on part where you're sorting things out, you kind of wonder if this is, what 16 days looks like, and then I eventually, you start sorting them out and you start, making more and more miles and your mood, you get in a really good mood when you make the miles and the time. And then it becomes, certainly, the most fun event, if the bike's running and everything's just jiving, everybody all the way around is happy. And so great time. There's some of the crew there and Tony unfortunately is not with us, rest in peace, on the left there, but he rode his modern Harley all the way from Arizona to Maine, all the way across the country to Portland, Oregon, and then back down. So he is with us the entire time, rain or shine.
Yeah.
He'd ride.
That's great. What are somebody asks you about the Cannonball, what are some of the takeaways you get from the event that you would share with them?
Yeah, I think, for an antique ride, right, it's, the best routes in the world, I think, best event in the world. It's a true test, I think, to, can you sort the machine out? There's certainly a factor of, just riding one of these machines for 8 hours straight. I remember, my knee, just, you're kind of pinned up, right? You're on pedals, so you're pinned up, and then the ergonomics of the handlebars, right? They're coming straight out at you. This isn't really ideal, but, so there's a big factor of just even riding the machine. But then when you work on them pretty much all night, all day, it takes a toll, no sleep. And so it's very challenging event for sure. And, but certainly more than happy I did it, and I looking forward to the next time. I want to ride this machine, hopefully get all the miles next time.
There you go.
There
you go. So let's I think that brings us into a good section of what's in the future for Paul and the family and all that kind of stuff. So what can we expect over the next year to see from you? What are you working on? What are you riding? What do you plan on doing?
Yeah, I think, I need to finish. There's a couple of car projects I need to work on, but a couple of bikes, of course, and I got to finish the Thor up. I'm kind of missing riding this around on Sundays. We've got the 66 Nova that my son, we need to finish up. And then there's a 70 Fiat for my daughter that we need to sort that out. So we're pretty close there. So a couple of car projects first and the Thor and then, I do plan to go down hopefully in Texas. I'm hoping my wife and I can fly out to Texas and at least travel with the Cannonball for a couple of days this year too.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be way cool.
Yeah. Looking forward to it, and not quite sure when it's really like time off of work to get that many days and sort it out. But, hopefully future, a few years out, attempt to ride this Thor again.
And you must be looking forward to riding the Thor to ride your bike to work day, I would think. No?
Yeah, I have commuted one time. I've commuted to work on the Thor, so I have done it.
And home.
And home.
Round trip.
Yep, and home. Round trip. Beautiful. On that. I didn't get picked up. So there's nice. My dad. Hi, Dad. He's he worked pretty much for food. That's why he's holding that cardboard sign there. But I don't know if he could zoom in on it there. But
there we go. We'll work for food.
Right.
Oh, that's great. And he was your support crew?
Yeah, he was. He drove he's got a small little Sprinter RV, and then we had my enclosed trailer. So first he helped retrofit the trailer for me, got a nice workbench he built in there, and then we loaded it up with tools, and then we attached that at Davenport, and my friend had taken my truck at that point. We met. My parents have a farm in Minnesota, And so they basically, my dad came down with the RV and we attached the trailer at that point and took off east.
Well,
So, and he,
Paul,
yeah,
I want to thank you for coming on, and your dad's a great guy for doing all that for you. And it must have been fun
he
to
is.
do that with your dad.
It was awesome. It was.
Thanks for coming on with us. And it sounds like we can come back to you because you'll be having some work to show us. Getting that Thor ready for the next time you do the Cannonball event. So thanks again. Hats off to you for riding a bike like that cross country, man. I know some of the other Thor guys, and they were saying it's a handful. So
it is.
congratulations to you. It was I bet an experience of a lifetime. And again, thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's good to see you.
All right, we'll see you. We'll see you on Sunday.
Yep, see you Sunday. Gonna ride.
We'll see you soon, Paul. Take care. That was fun, educational.
Yeah. Absolutely. Those Thors, man, they're really, really cool bikes. You know, like I said before, they were really kind of over manufactured, over engineered, probably really overthought of, you know, I don't know if they were trying to get ahead of everybody else or what, but man, a lot of parts to those things. And nobody makes them. You can't find reproductions for that kind of stuff. So most of the stuff you got to make yourself and just figure out how to work it, you know?
Yeah, well, maybe we get Feinsod back on the show again, and we'll talk to him about it because he really was at his wit's end with that Thor and managed to haul it across the country also. So
yeah, same. Him, Jersey John, you know, all those guys.
Yeah.
So,
and
but
you know,
it's like Paul said, you know, they kind of got them figured out, and then the ride was over. So
yeah, they called themselves the Thor losers, but I think they were the winners in the end.
All right. So, but heck yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. So, hey, I want to thank everybody out there that tuned in with us tonight. Everybody that made all the comments. Sorry we didn't get to every single one of them. I promise we'll try to do better in the future. Really great show tonight. Again, thanks to Rob, our friends at Source Media. Thanks to Marge for putting everything on the back end. Thanks to all our great sponsors in both these places up there. Without these guys, you know, this show doesn't happen. So hopefully we bring you more and more better content every week. We're trying our best out there. You know, hey, we ain't perfect. We're just trying to do this thing. So, and this,
we're trying to have fun. We're trying to have fun, and we hope you're having fun. That's the important part. And, you know, we're not ignoring you out there. So we will get to your questions. One of these shows, we may even do a call in.
Yeah. No, and I think we got planned on actually doing a whole show with just question and answers. So that'll be a fun one where we can just sit there and answer all your guys' questions all night and not get distracted by badass motorcycles behind our guests.
Yeah, really. That thing is that is so right.
Yeah. Hey, make sure you guys check out Cannonball social media. We're going to be starting to post a lot of stuff of upcoming events that we're going to be at. We're going to be at Silver Sands Bridal Club first week in March. I don't remember the exact dates. I think it's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th maybe, or something like that. But anyway, we'll be at the Antique Motorcycle of America swap meet there in Daytona, Florida. A few weeks after that, we'll be in Hill Country, Texas. That's right, Texas Fandango.
And don't forget, if it's Wednesday, it's what day?
Hump Day.
If it's Hump Day, it's Cannonball Chronicles right here on Source Media, right?
Yep.
And all the other great shows that Source Media brings to you folks, free of charge on the internet. You get to see Chris Simmons and Michael Lichter in Coast to Coast on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock. Of course, Motorcycle Cannonballs Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, and Shop Talk on Sundays. And then Chris has some other shows called, Shop Talk is Sunday at 9 o'clock, and Grace and Gears Garage from time to time. So there's a lot of things coming up on Source Media. Stay tuned to this place. And as Chris always says, same chopper time, same chopper channel. So thanks, Chopper Town. Thanks, everybody out there. And Jason, take us out of here, would you?
Hey, you guys, we'll see you guys next week. Another great guest. Have fun, ride, be safe, all that kind of stuff. We want to see you back here again. We love y'all. Laters.